You've been lied to about tennis elbow. They say to overcome tennis elbow, you need to ice it, rest it, stretch it, get a cortisone shot. But every time you go and play tennis, that same nagging pain just keeps on coming back. And deep down, what you're worried about the most is not being able to play tennis because of your elbow pain. So in this video, we'll go over a completely new method to overcoming tennis elbow pain that's personalized to you, your elbow, and what's going on. With this method, we've been able to help over 300 tennis players worldwide overcome their elbow pain and get back to playing pain-free. And I call it the root cause method. So instead of telling you, I'll show you from start to finish the whole process. So we have Rachel here with us. She's dealing with some tennis elbow. She's a tennis player. I have no idea what's going on, but throughout our process, we'll find exactly what's going on with her, what she's tried so far. Then we'll help her find her root cause and, more importantly, build a plan around it to finally overcome it. So tell us a little bit more about what's been going on, how long it's been going on for.
I have only been playing about 1.5 years, and then I was playing tennis like 3 times a week. I joined a league, and then I took a break because we were on spring break, and then I came back and I had my racket restrung and the strings were a little too tight, and I played 4 hours in one day. So it just like wrecked it. And then I kind of took a break, a couple days off, but I still play. I had like 2 more matches that I played. And then I played with a guy like on a Friday, and it was great. It felt great. I was actually surprised at how well it was doing. Like it didn't feel good, but like it was better than it had been. And then I did a drills class that Sunday at Lifetime, and I just murdered it.
Oh, boy.
And it was done. And like halfway through the drills class, I couldn't, I was only hitting backhands. I couldn't hit forehands.
So this is something common that we see with tennis elbow, and a lot of people ask me, how does it develop? And in most cases, it develops over time, where through repetitive stress on that elbow. So for example, when you played for 4 hours, or every session puts a little bit more stress on the elbow, and if it can't handle it, if it's too much, then over time we chip away at that elbow, and that leads to degeneration of the elbow, not inflammation. So that's a big misconception with tennis elbows, that it's inflammation. So we need to ice it, rest it, stretch it, get a cortisone shot. But that only helps temporarily because it takes care of the inflammation, but doesn't fix the degeneration. So what have you tried up to this point, from the start till now, to overcome it?
Well, I've been going to occupational therapy. They have me do like just the little machines, and then the
Flex bar?
I have one of those too. And so I've been doing a little bit of things, and then I've been sauna, heat and ice, a lot of sauna, just for life anyway. It has gotten better, but I don't know that it's actually gotten better with that. I think I just haven't played or really done upper body like weightlifting or anything since like April.
So this injury, and I'm sure you've noticed this too, but it has a way of sinking into our life and really affecting it in multiple ways. And for people like us, we like to stay active. We like to use our body, play sports, lift weights, and overall we get that great feeling from being active. And especially when it's going on for a while, it has a way of affecting us, not just physically, but mentally too. It can be a very frustrating injury. So what would you say has been the most frustrating part about this so far for you?
I'm widowed with a young son who plays tennis. We used to play together. I can't play with him. Also weightlifting, like I feel kind of lost in the gym right now, because I used to weightlift like 5 days a week, and then I go in the gym and then I'm like, oh, can't do upper body, I can't do deadlifts, I can't, there's so many things I can't do. So I'm like, I've been kind of becoming a lump, I feel like, because I haven't been going as much, and because it's just not motivating to just do a little bit of cardio and like calves or something, because it's just like I don't want to aggravate it, and I really want it to get better and not get worse. Like I want to be able to play fall league again.
Absolutely. Cardio sucks.
Yeah.
Can you show them where exactly you get the pain?
Here, and then it in the beginning, it ended up coming all the way up and all the way down, but now I just feel it here, and then like a lot right here.
Got it. And that pain right there, how would you describe it in your own words when you do get that pain?
It's better now, but it's like when you hit your funny bone really hard, and then it's just constant.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a very important thing that you mentioned there, because there's different types of pain based on where that injury could be coming from. So actually the pathway that you showed right there, that wouldn't be a tendon that's associated with traditional tennis elbow. What that signals to me is the radial nerve. So we actually have a nerve that comes through through the neck, through the back of the shoulder, wraps around the side here, and it goes through a muscle called the supinator, which will be interesting to see later on with the test if that is still painful there. but sometimes it can get a little stuck there and it can give symptoms shooting down. And it usually shoots down to the back of the thumb, pointer finger, and middle finger. But in some cases, just like you mentioned, it can also shoot up there. So that's usually what we see more in the beginning stages of,
Yeah, it
of an
was more
injury.
up in the beginning and
Yeah.
then like lower as.
Yeah, because there's a small area for that nerve to move. And if we have inflammation, swelling in that area, it can just restrict how much movement it has and can give us those symptoms up and down. Now, it can be scary hearing that, oh, I have some nerve pain. But in most cases with tennis elbow, it's not damage to the nerve, just irritation due to swelling or just that area being a little stuck. And that's why we get that shooting pain up and down. But in most cases, what we see is a combination of nerve pain and traditional tennis elbow. So what we would call that nerve pain is radial tunnel syndrome. So it's important to have a distinction of where exactly the pain is coming from. Otherwise, we're not really addressing the root cause here. Do you still get those nerve symptoms, just like shooting down?
Just down here if I'm
Yeah.
doing stuff like,
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds good. And what motions tend to aggravate it the most?
Like,
Turning?
yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about things that hurt, like
Uh-huh.
dumping a hot pot, like
Yeah.
water out, just lifting heavy things.
Okay. And then what about tennis-wise? What motions, shots tend to aggravate it the
It's
most?
been so long since I've
Yeah.
even touched it, but anything forehand and
Forehand.
like serving overheads.
Yeah. So those motions would make sense based on where you're showing the pain is occurring. Another important thing to mention here is you've taken 2.5 months off. And what they say is, oh, just right. You go to your doctor and they say, just rest it. It'll go away.
And it feels better, but when I do
Mhm.
things, I can feel it. So I
Yeah.
know that if I just start playing full out again, I can feel it because it's like really right here.
And that's a big piece of advice that's wrong and keeps a lot of people stuck because over the past 2.5 months, sure, you've been resting, the pain has decreased, but if we went back to playing tennis right now, we know what would happen.
Yeah.
So the underlying issue, that degeneration in that tendon, doesn't get fixed by resting. It actually gets fixed by rehab, by strengthening the area through a process called mechanotransduction. So as we load the elbow, as we load the tendons on the outside of that elbow, they get stronger, more resilient, and we need to build that capacity back up. So how you can imagine it, you have a small plate and you're going to a Chinese buffet. You can't overload that plate, otherwise that wouldn't work and we would have pain. And the goal of rehab is to build that capacity, build that strength and resilience in that elbow. So slowly we're growing that plate and we can handle more. We can get back to playing, lifting pain-free. And that's not done through resting. Resting only decreases the inflammation and the pain in the moment. It's done through strengthening there. So that's a big one there. So let's talk about your goals. In a perfect world, what would that look like for you? What's the most important things for you?
Being able to play a league in the fall again and play with my son
Mhm.
again by the fall for us here.
Yeah.
The fall league, I think, is like end of August.
Okay. Yeah.
So pretty soon. And then just being able to like deadlift and like do arms and shoulders and back in the gym again. Like it's hard to even do like lat pull downs because I feel it here.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. So just regular. How often were you lifting weights before?
5
going to
days a
the-
week.
Oh wow. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's quite a bit. And then what about tennis? How often was that usually?
3 days a week.
3 days a week. How long were you usually out there? on
Sometimes
the-
4. An hour to 3 hours.
Okay. Sounds
Sometimes,
good. So
yeah.
that's the reason I asked those specifics is we need to build back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and everything else, just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
paddleboarding, kayaking, hiking, like just being able to like lift a bunch of things, like
Mhm.
being on my own, like I have to do everything. So just everything to come with the house, everything.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, of course. Yeah. So we're ready to jump into the assessment. We'll look at the spine, neck, shoulder, make sure that there's nothing else contributing to the injury, nothing else compensating. And more importantly, we'll use the racket to find exactly where her pain is coming from in the elbow. After that, we'll recommend a couple exercises to address this and talk about how we'll fix this long term.
Great.
So we'll take a look at the spine, neck, and shoulder first. We'll start with the spine. And the reason the spine is very important for elbow pain is because tennis is a rotational sport. And if we don't have the rotation from the upper body, then we have compensations and we use more of the elbow for a lot of the shots, specifically on the forehand and sometimes even on the serve too. So for this one, we'll sit up all the way here if you can. The reason we sit down is to lock the hips in so we don't compensate by rotating the hips. Then we'll do a nice big bear hug all the way. Yep, just like that. And then try to rotate as far as you can towards me. So we're getting to about 40, 45 degrees. Ideally for a tennis player, we're looking for 60 degrees. That ensures that we have enough rotation for playing tennis. And if you look at a lot of the professional players, the slow motions of their shots, they'll rotate really far into their shots, and that's where they get a lot of effortless power on their strokes. So let's take a look at the other side. So that was your forehand side. And backhand side looks a little bit better. Definitely some improvements we can make there, but potentially that's maybe why she has a little bit more pain on the forehand side, because she can't load as much on that and she's using more of her elbow there. So that'd be something to improve on. Great things here would be a wall drill just to open up the spine there, thread the needle. Those would be great exercises to help improve that. Next, we'll go into the neck. With the neck, what I'm looking for is any nerve pain shooting down. So those nerves, they start at the neck and they go all the way down the arm. So we need to identify if maybe there's something going on in the neck that's contributing to that there. So the first one we'll do is with the opposite hand, we'll grab the back of the head and just pull that head down, looking towards the floor. And you want to push about 10 to 15 pounds here. What we're looking for is any pain in the neck or potentially shooting down that arm.
No, it's a little bit tight right here, but no.
Okay, sounds good. Tightness is okay as long as there's no nerve pain shooting down. Then we'll do both hands on top of the head and just pushing down. Same thing, about 10 to 15 pounds. Looking for anything similar there. Yeah. Awesome. Then let's pull that head over to one side and the other side. Awesome. And then just doing rotation. So rotating off to one side and then the other side. Great. No nerve pain, no dysfunction in the neck. And this is something that we see commonly. Unfortunately, with traditional physical therapy, sometimes they overemphasize the importance of the neck, saying it's all coming from the neck, we need to treat the neck. And in some cases, yes, that pain could be coming from the neck, but a lot of times I see that the pain is actually more concentrated to the shoulder and the elbow. So that's what we'll jump into next. So with the shoulder, what we're looking at is rotation of the shoulder, how the scapula moves, and then the strength and stability of that rotator cuff. So we'll start with rotation of that shoulder, and what I like to do is compare it to the opposite side. So as long as we had no injuries on the opposite side, then it's a great comparison side to side to see if there's any imbalances that contribute to the elbow pain. So let's stand up for this test, and let's turn your left shoulder towards the camera, and then from here just lift your elbow up to shoulder height. Yep. And first we'll go into external rotation. So turning that shoulder all the way back as far as you can, like that. So pretty good external rotation there. What we're looking for is getting past vertical, especially on the serving side. That ensures that we can get into that racket drop position and have enough power on these shots. And then keep the elbow in the same spot and then turn the shoulder in and just stop where you run out of range of motion. So pretty good internal rotation there. Any pain, discomfort in the shoulder? Yep. So left side looks good. Now let's compare that to the right side. Yep, same test there. External rotation, not bad there. So getting past vertical. Any pain, discomfort there at the top? And then internal rotation. Yep. So let's reset at the top. I saw a little bit of compensations there. So a common compensation here is that the shoulder will dip forward to compensate for that range of motion there. So try to keep the shoulder in the same spot and do that test one more time. Right there. So we end a little bit earlier. Yeah, any pain, discomfort in the shoulder there? Yeah. So potentially this is something we can improve on a little bit more. She has pretty good range of motion here, but if we had limitations in internal rotation, that could affect us on the follow through. And then that puts more strain and pressure on the elbow. But so far, rotation looks good for you there. Next, we'll look at the scapula and how the scapula moves. So let's turn facing that way. So here we have the shoulder blades or the scapula, and the first test we'll do is let's test the left side first. So we'll do left side over the head, like you're scratching your upper back as far as you can, opening up that shoulder. Everything looks good here. We're looking to get to about this level of the upper back. Now, with that left arm just behind the back as far as you can go, like you're trying to scratch the middle of the back. Really good range of motion here. Left side is good to go. Let's switch over to the right side, see what's going on there. Yep, good range of motion there. Very similar to the left side. And then behind the back.
It's just a little tighter.
A little tighter. Yeah, and then this range of motion looks good there. So the scapula is moving well for her. So the last test for the shoulder would be the strength and stability. So far range of motion is good of the shoulder. The scapula is moving well. Next, we'll look at the strength and stability of the rotator cuff. So now we're testing the rotator cuff. So sitting down, we'll start with that right side. So we have the right leg up here, and then the knee is acting as a little foundation for the elbow. The elbow we want slightly on the inside right there, holding the weight. Yep. And then going nice and slow, windshield wiper motion here, all the way down and up.
Further down?
That looked okay there, yeah. So we're looking to get to about parallel, maybe a little bit below parallel, and then just stopping at vertical. Let's do nice and slow, try to do as many as we can here. I think that's 3. How's that weight for you?
Good.
Yeah. Any pain, discomfort? Yeah. Sounds good.
It's just like a little like sore because I haven't done anything with it.
Got it. So a good weight for this one is to start with a 5 pound just to see if the elbow hurts, and then progressing to 8 pounds, 10 pounds, 12 pounds, just depending on how strong you are. A good benchmark, I would say, is getting to about 10 pounds, 10 to 15 repetitions would be more than enough to keep the shoulder strong for serving and those overhead shots specifically. So that's why we're testing it with the elbow up, with that shoulder in that position, because a lot of tennis happens over the head and we need to test the strength and stability of that shoulder overhead. But for her, strength looks pretty good here. Let's switch on over to the left side and see how it feels there. So ideally on our dominant side, the side that we're playing, it should be about 20-30% stronger. So if you feel that the right side, your dominant
easier.
side.
This side's easier.
Yeah, so that's a common sign that we definitely need to work on that dominant side if your non-dominant side is stronger. If you think about it, when you're serving, every time you hit a serve, that gives about 100 to even 300 pounds of pressure all the way through the arm, through the shoulder, through the elbow. And if we have instability in the shoulder, that can bleed into the elbow and cause more pain and dysfunction there. So if we are noticing a difference and she does feel stronger on that left side, that tells us that we really need to focus on this and improve it, especially overhead if she has pain on the serve. So we're all done with testing the spine, the neck, shoulder. So far what we found is limited rotation on that forehand side. In the neck, we didn't find anything. Great news there. And then with the shoulder, she had really good range of motion, but she lacks strength and stability in that rotator cuff, which is very important for the elbow. So next we'll jump into the elbow assessment with the racket. So the first test for the elbow we'll do with the arm straight, holding continental grip. Yep, just like that. And squeeze as hard as you can, like you're trying to break that racket there.
I feel it in my elbow.
Got it. And then show me the spot. And then from 0 to 10, how would you rate that pain there?
4.
4? Okay,
Yeah.
Sounds good. So that's a good benchmark, and then we'll compare the next test compared to this one here. And you guys at home, just have a notepad ready, write down your pain levels for each test, and the 3 most painful ones would be your root cause and what you need to focus on next to finally improve it. So all done with test number 1. Test number 2 is very similar. We hold it with the arm straight, nice and strong.
Oh.
Not a deft grip, but about 80%. So with this hand, we're resisting. With this hand, we'll be pushing that racket away from you.
It's already hard to make
Nice and strong.
Yeah, this is already hard to make my arm like totally
Just
straight.
Yep.
And then pushing on it hurts even more.
Got it.
It comes all the way this
Yep.
way.
And then from 0 to 10, how would you rate this test?
Maybe a 6.
6? Okay.
6.5.
So it jumps from a 4 to a 6. Next test, we'll
Maybe
do
7 actually.
7?
Yeah.
Got it. So we'll jump from a 4 to a 7.
Yeah.
Next test that we'll do, instead of pushing away, we'll do pulling towards you.
Totally fine.
That one's fine.
Mhm.
Okay, sounds good. Same position, but we'll push from the inside to the outside, nice and strong here, like a forehand volley.
Fine.
That one's fine. And then we'll do the opposite, so like a backhand volley,
Doesn't feel good.
nice and strong there. And then from 0 to 10, how would you rate that pain?
4.
4? Okay. And then pain just in that spot, or did you feel any traveling?
It's like here and here.
And travels down. Does that feel like that nerve pain that you had in the past where it kind of shoots down? Yeah, so that's the one that I was mentioning before where it can get a little stuck there. Next, we'll go into the elbow bent position. So holding that racket at a 90-degree angle. Yep, like you're holding a torch. And then squeeze as hard as you can in this position here. Any pain, discomfort there?
I want to just feel it.
Just feel it?
Yeah.
Okay. But significantly less than with the arm straight where
Yeah.
we had the 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
So what would you rate this one? 0, 1, 2? Okay. So 2. And then same position, we'll do pushing away from you.
Doesn't feel good.
No. And then how would you rate this one?
5.
5. Okay. And then pulling towards you,
Fine.
pushing from the inside to the outside.
2.
2. Okay. And then pushing from the outside
Oh, 6.
across. 6. So definitely that one jumps up there. Next, we'll do the motorcycle test. So holding that racket sideways like this. We pull this wrist back like we're on a motorcycle. And then opposite hand grabs the racket and we twist forward. So this one's twisting back. This one's twisting forward.
Fine.
That one's fine. No pain there. Awesome. So that's a common test that I do for the extensor carpi radialis brevis. It's what's believed to be the most commonly affected area for tennis elbow. But honestly, for a lot of tennis players that I treat, we find it to not be the root cause and not be the pain spot. So maybe with the occupational therapy, you've been doing a lot of this exercise, just the traditional wrist extension, which can help if that's where our root cause is. But for you in particular, we didn't have any pain with that test there.
I think just putting my arm straight is like the hardest.
Yeah, so that's a big, so you had pain in a specific muscle that hurts more when the arm is straight. So that's a common one that we see with a lot of tennis players. So for you, if you had pain with the forehand or the serve, that makes sense. And we'll go into why that happens a little bit later here. We won't use the racket for the next test. We'll put that racket down and we'll go into this high five position. And then from here, I'm pushing each finger away from me. Yep, just like that.
Interesting. Like these two hurt the most?
Yes. Second and middle.
Yeah.
And then how would you rate that pain discomfort with those?
Oh, like a 3.
3? Okay,
Yeah.
Sounds good. So that makes sense based on the grip pain too. That was about a 4. This test very similar muscles and tendons to that one. The last one is for a nerve. So for this one, we'll do thumb across, make a fist, have that arm nice and relaxed next to your side, and then curl the wrist back. Yep, just like that. Then you want to turn the shoulder in so the fingers are pointing away from you. Opposite hand goes on top of the shoulder, pushing down, and then straight arm goes out to the side. Yep, not behind you, just out to the side. Looking for any pain, discomfort there
No.
in the thing. And we want to go all the way up to shoulder height there. That
Not.
was okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. All done with the test. So let's summarize the findings. So the most painful one by far was the one with the arm straight like this, pushing away. So I want to show you the anatomy of what's going on and why it hurts for your shot. That muscle or that tendon that we were testing is the extensor carpi radialis longus, and it actually attaches above the elbow. Not too far, about an inch or two above, and that changes its function significantly. So all the other muscles and tendons, they stop at the elbow. This is the only one that goes above it, which means that when we bend the arm or extend the arm, that's where we get more pain and discomfort. I think you mentioned like picking up something with the arm straight, like a coffee mug or something like that would really aggravate the pain. And then also with the forehand, when the arm is more straight, or on the serve when we're extending the arm, that's where you get more pain and discomfort. So it makes sense there. And then what we did is we bent the elbow for the next test and that pain decreased. So that's a common sign for pain in this muscle here. It's also important to know where this muscle goes. So if it attaches above the elbow, it'll help with this motion here. But where it goes is to the base of the second finger, and it doesn't go all the way to the finger, it stops at the wrist right here. So instead of this motion here, because it's closer to the thumb, it actually helps with this motion here, which we call radial deviation, which becomes very important on the forehand, especially if we're playing with a lot of topspin, because this upward motion that adds topspin is that radial deviation and the arm is straight. So that's why we see a lot of pain and discomfort on the forehand side with this muscle here.
That makes sense, because when I was like doing that drills class that it was like failing.
Oh,
The
okay.
only way I could hit a forehand is if I was like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a common way to protect
Like,
this, to
yeah.
bend the elbow.
That was terrible. I couldn't, like,
Yeah.
I would just be like, ugh.
You start looking like
It was
the
awful.
weak
Yeah.
characters, right?
It was
Playing tennis
terrible.
there. And then we also add a little bit less topspin because that upward motion hurts us too there. So
Okay.
that's a common way of protecting the elbows, is bending it, playing with less topspin. Another thing that happens is if you play against somebody else that uses a lot of topspin, as the ball contacts the racket, it actually, because of the spin, it pulls the racket down. So now the arm is straight. We're trying to hold that racket up, but the reason those shots feel so heavy is because it's actually ripping the racket down, putting even more stress and pain on that shot there. And then for the serve, just curious, did you notice any pain or discomfort differences with flat serve, slice serve, kick serve? No difference there? So the reason I asked is a lot of times when people have pain and discomfort in this muscle, the kick serve will hurt a little bit more because, again, we're extending the arm and we're using a little bit more wrist motion here to snap through, versus the flat serve tends to hurt a little bit more because of just the pressure and the power that we're putting behind the shot there. So it makes sense why those shots hurt. The second most painful test for you was this one right here, pulling across. And I believe initially when you had that pain, discomfort, and that radial nerve pain there, that's what was going on there. You had some pain, inflammation in that spot. The good news is we tested that radial nerve now. You don't have any pain dysfunction there. So we would just treat that supinator muscle there.
Okay.
This one for tennis players is very important for backhand volleys. As we contact the ball, the supinator would actually prevent that racket from twisting in your hand. It also helps on forehand volleys too. But on the forehand and the serve, it helps with this rotation here as we hit through the ball. So not this upward motion, but as we pronate, it would help with that too. It does the opposite direction, so it helps slow down the motion. And same thing on the serve, they talk about pronation, which the pronator comes from this side. But as we hit through and pronate, and after we have contact with the ball, we need to slow down the racket. So that what slows down the racket is that supinator on the backside here on that follow through. And the third one was gripping. So it was a 4 out of 10, gripping the racket here. And we had a 3 out of 10 with fingers 2 and 3, which tend to be the most common fingers involved with tennis because we have this finger separated here. We tend to squeeze a little bit harder with these fingers, and fingers 4 and 5 tend to be a little bit more relaxed. So that's why we'll see more pain and discomfort there. On a daily basis, if you pick something up like this really kills it, just like squeezing. Maybe you've noticed just like a lotion bottle or a spray.
Yeah. In the beginning,
aggravates it.
like anything.
Yeah. So
I was like, I had to do everything with my left hand. Yeah.
So those would be common motions that would aggravate it. Just
Yeah.
simple bottles, sprays, and that comes from just the gripping of the racket and the contact with the ball at the same time. So that those would help to squeeze. A lot of times people that overgrip the racket, or if they don't change their overgrips often, they'll develop pain and discomfort with this because they have to squeeze harder on their shots. They can't stay relaxed. Another important thing to note here is when we're gripping, we're technically using the muscles on the golfer's elbow side to squeeze. But the reason we get pain and discomfort on the tennis elbow side is that these muscles help to assist with squeezing. So if I keep my wrist nice and relaxed and then I squeeze as hard as I can, see how the wrist naturally goes into extended position? That's the strongest position for our wrist to squeeze. Otherwise, the wrist is a pretty mobile joint. So we need that stability from the tennis elbow side, specifically those finger extensors, to keep it nice and stable. And that's why we get pain on the outside with gripping, even though the muscles that do gripping on the outside there. So they help to support. So those would be the 3 root causes and the most important things to focus on to finally overcome this. Next, we'll go into my favorite exercises for each one, and then we'll talk about how to fix this long term.
Okay.
The most painful test for us was this one right here where we're pushing away from you. This test, the extensor carpi radialis longus, and for you was a 7 out of 10. So it's something that we would focus on the most with our rehab. So next I'll show you a great exercise that I love to use to target this one. So here's my favorite exercise for the extensor carpi radialis longus. Because it crosses the elbow and it goes to a wrist here, I like to do a different version of a hammer curl where we add the wrist motion too. So I'm going to curl up just like a regular hammer curl, but as I'm curling up, I also bring the wrist up, and I'm thinking about just touching that dumbbell to the shoulder here, nice and slow and controlled on the way down. So give that a try right there. Yeah, just like that. Nice and slow. So again, this is my favorite one because it incorporates the elbow and the wrist function at the same time.
And you still do it even if the elbow is like a little bit of pain?
Yes, so great question there. A little bit of pain during the rehab and a little bit of a response afterwards. It's normal too. The tendons have a delayed pain response. So again, you wouldn't want to do this completely zero pain. A little pain and discomfort is actually a good sign that we're targeting the right area, we're strengthening it, and we're challenging it to get stronger. So usually we want that pain to stay about a 3, 4 out of 10 or less. If it goes above that, then you would reduce the repetitions or the weight or the intensity that you're using there. So we wouldn't want that pain above a 4 out of 10, but below is completely fine. Okay. Another important thing to mention is, let's say you do a rehab exercise and the next day you wake up and it's more than a 4 out of 10, then we overdid it. We need to cut back down a little bit, let things settle down, and then rebuild.
Would you just go back down in weight then?
Yeah, usually I recommend if we go over a 4 out of 10, a good general rule is reduce things by 50. Okay. So that could be playing tennis, that could be the weights that we use, the repetitions that we use. That it's a great benchmark of just think about 50. So if you play tennis for an hour and you overwhelm the elbow, the pain goes about a 4 out of 10. The next time you let things settle down, next time you play, cut that down to about 30 minutes is a good general rule, and then build back up there.
Okay.
Great. So that's the hammer curl radial deviation. The second most painful was the supinator for you. We'll go on this side and show you that one. So the second most painful test for you was the supinator when we were pulling that racket this way with the arm straight and bent. With the arm straight, I believe you had a little bit more pain. So we'll do the supination with the arm straight. That'll be a little bit more specific to you because you tend to have more pain with the arm straight on the forehand or on the serve. So I'll show you that exercise here. So to keep the arm straight, I love to use a foam roller, and I put that foam roller right behind the elbow here. So that puts the arm in a straight position there. It's a little bit more intense this way. So if you have too much pain, you can take the foam roller away. And then from here, I turn that dumbbell up and down, holding at the bottom of the dumbbell. If you hold it in the middle, then it's the same weight here and here. There's no leverage. So that's why we want to grab it all the way at the bottom. Nice and slow and controlled all the way up and down. Just like that. Give that a try. Perfect. Just like that.
Do I go further?
As far as is comfortable. For some people, they'll be a little bit stiffer on this one.
And so again, it's normal to experience pain.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. On this one, from 0 to 10, how much pain discomfort would you say you have?
It's like a 4.
4? Okay. So potentially for you, maybe a 3 pound would be a little bit better for this one. Let's give that a try. A great starting point is around 2 to 3 pounds for this one, especially for people that have where the pain is a little bit more aggravated. For the exercises where we're using more of the elbows, bigger muscles, it's normal to start anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds. And then in terms of sets and repetitions, what I usually start off with is 3 sets of anywhere from 15 to 20 repetitions. So higher repetitions, lower intensity. What I like to say there is we're conditioning the elbow, we're conditioning the tendon, slowly working on the capacity, not necessarily focusing on strengthening in the beginning. That will come as the elbow gets stronger and we build that resilience in the elbow. Awesome. Another painful test was gripping the racket and the finger test there. For this, I love to use a finger band to target this one. So you can get these on Amazon, pretty easy to get and to use. They usually make these finger holes, but a lot of times I found they're a little uncomfortable to use because it locks your fingers into a specific pattern. So sometimes I have people flip it inside out and just use it like a resistance or like a rubber band, just opening and closing. There's a lot of different ways to do this one specifically. Where I would start would be holding it nice and strong with the elbow straight for 30 seconds. And then after that, as that becomes easier and you're getting stronger, we can transition to slow pulses and then even quick pulses after that. So let's give that a try. First, try the fingers inside the holes. Yeah. See how that feels for you. See, it's a little tricky and can sometimes
I
restrict
definitely feel it like
yeah.
up here.
Yeah, so definitely for you.
So,
Again, this wasn't our most painful spot, but very important area to target. Later on, when she gets stronger, more grip strengthening, like farmer's carries can be really great.
it's definitely harder to do the fingers.
yeah.
So I guess like after you get better at it, then you can do
Yeah,
it.
potentially you can use it as a stepping stone. So starting here and then eventually putting your fingers inside. The tricky part with these is they usually come pretty tight, pretty strong. So that's the lightest one out of the whole pack.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it feels pretty
It's
good,
pretty tight.
even for me too. So it's rare that we get all the way to the strongest one. The strongest one is double or triple the resistance of that one. Yeah. So
way behind.
yeah, rarely do we ever need to get to that point. Usually we're transitioning to like farmer's carries, other types of grip training, which is something important. These exercises are a great starting point and it will get us on the right path. They're targeting the root cause, but rarely does following the same thing get us all the way to the end. And that's why it's important to update the plan along the way based on how you respond, how the pain progresses, what areas are improving, and then updating the plan as we go forward. So these are the 3 best exercises for you to start to get those initial results. And then afterwards, we would update that plan based on how you're progressing.
Is this wide enough too?
For the fingers, yeah, the one little thing I would adjust is just having it a little bit closer to the tips of the finger. That'll be a little bit harder. Closer to the palm would be a little bit easier there just because of the leverage there. So that's how I would do it there. All right, so we found your root cause. I recommended those 3 exercises. Usually when I make a program for somebody, it's anywhere from 6 to 8 exercises, starting off with everyday rehab in the beginning. So we'll plan that all out for you. But something that you mentioned that's very important, how to overcome the elbow pain, is really ties into the worst part about this injury is
waiting.
Yeah, waiting, staying patient, staying consistent, because a lot of times we believe that the recovery will be a just straight line down, that every week will get better, every day will get better. And as long as we're doing the right things, that it'll just go down. But what we see, and I actually had a software engineer client develop this program that asked him his pain levels 3 times a day throughout the whole recovery.
Oh.
And what we saw is not a straight line down. And in most cases, what we see is it goes up, and down. And it's more of this wave pattern where sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's better. And even later into the recovery, 2-3 months in, that pain could return to the same spot where we used to be. And that could be really frustrating because it feels like we're back at square one, that what we're doing is not working. And once the mind goes in the wrong direction, everything tends to
then you
fall
don't
apart.
want to
Yeah,
keep going with your therapy.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where consistency can fall apart. That's where we can get really frustrated for multiple different reasons. We could get frustrated ourselves. We can get frustrated at the sport. And I feel like the biggest thing that we miss is just getting out there, playing. The social aspect of it is really big too.
Yeah.
So having a long-term vision is extremely important with this injury. It's hard to compare yourself to other people too. For example, if you know somebody that had tennis elbow and they just recovered in a month and they have no pain.
I know somebody that has it, and it kind of goes up and down like you're saying, but she's just playing through, but she hasn't gotten to the point where I got. But I don't know how she has it because she's playing like every day, and I'm like, where's that for me?
Yeah.
But I honestly would rather just be playing pain-free completely.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people will get stuck in that cycle where the pain gets a little bit worse. She rests it. Maybe she does a couple things. It gets a little bit better. But again, she's stuck in this limbo where it's not pain-free, where she's not addressing the root cause. It just keeps
She's always dealing with it a little bit.
Yeah. So even though it's not as bad, the pain to your extent where she had to pull back, she's still dealing with it. And it's frustrating for all different types of reasons. And that's something that's very important. Don't compare yourself to other people going through your journey. Everybody's a little bit different, but if you stay consistent, you can make measurable progress. You can make some great strides in overcoming this injury and get back to playing pain-free. So that's really the biggest thing when we're thinking about how to overcome the elbow pain, is really having the right mindset, having your head in the game in terms of overcoming it.
Yeah.
Just like tennis, it's all mental, and having the right mindset there is important to win matches. Same thing for overcoming this injury. A lot of times it can be much harder than playing a match or just playing
Yeah,
there.
waiting.
Yeah, so really biggest things here is finding your root cause, building a plan around it to get fixed, and having that confidence in that plan that we'll finally be able to overcome it. That's huge in terms of the next steps going forward, because that's when we put in the work, we put in the consistency, and even if the results fluctuate, we still have that confidence and we push through all the way to the end. And another important thing too is a lot of times people ask me, how long does it take? And on average, can take anywhere from 2 to 4 months. But again, everybody's a little bit different. I work with some people where they need a little bit of extra time. Maybe it took 6 months to get complete pain-free. Other people, they do the right things and magically the pain disappears in a month. They're the lucky
That'd be
ones.
great.
Yeah. And again, it's hard to compare, and that could happen in this case.
I mean, I'm on my way because
yeah.
it's been since April. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we're definitely ahead of the curve. We'll just put you on the right plan and do the right things going forward to speed up the results and to give you the perfect recipe to allow your body to recover from it. Because a lot of times people will try to rely on outside things to help their elbow pain, cortisone shots, PRP, peptides, all these treatments that from the outside try to heal the elbow on the inside. But the truth is, in most cases, that elbow can heal from within. We just need to give it what it needs. And the thing that it needs that works the best is rehab, strengthening that elbow over time. So the next steps going forward is we'll work with you. We'll design a plan. The first 2 weeks of that plan, personalized to you, what's going on, so we can make some improvements. In the beginning, we focus on reducing the pain. In the next phases, we would focus on rebuilding the strength, getting that elbow stronger. Then we slowly work on getting you back to playing more and more. And then finally, after we overcome the elbow pain, we design a maintenance plan for you to keep that elbow strong and make sure it doesn't come back in the future. So we break it into 2-week phases. And then after every 2 weeks, we would reconnect on a video call, just see how things are going and update the plan based on how everything's feeling and what you need for the next stages going forward. How we deliver that plan to you is on our rehab app, so you'll be able to log in on your phone, see exactly what you have to do for that day. So you just follow through. There's videos of me demonstrating all the different exercises, techniques. So it's nice and easy, you just follow through. That's also how we track consistency. So we'll see that the app reminds you to do the rehab every day. So that
shows you if people check in.
Yeah, shows me the weights that you're using, all the important details there. You could also leave a comment after each workout, just giving us a little update on what's feeling good, what's feeling bad, so we can make those updates along the way. And in the app, you can send me a message directly too, so you can communicate with me. If there's any flare-ups, if you want to ask what to do after playing, for example. There's a lot of questions that we have during the rehab process. Answering those are very important. And unfortunately, we have traditional PT or OT. You only go in once a week. That's the only time you can talk to them. Outside of that, you're kind of on your own there. So anything that's going on, keep us updated. If you have any questions, just let us know. You can send us a message, audio, you can send us a video, picture, anything that's going on, just let us know throughout this whole process. I'm wearing the wrong hat today. Usually I have the Strong Elbow Club hat. So after we overcome the elbow pain, we send you that hat as a little celebration and to celebrate all the hard work we put into finally overcoming that elbow pain.
Cool.
And an important part is throughout this recovery, we don't have to completely stop playing, but we want to make sure we're playing smartly and not making the injury worse. So what I recommend is, as long as the pain stays at about a 3, 4 out of 10 or less, then we're good to go. So what I would expect for you is the first 2 weeks, we'll see some initial results. We can slowly get back to playing.
Okay.
So what I would recommend is the first session would be like a 30-minute light session, just hitting ground strokes back and forth, seeing how the elbow responds during and after. If that pain stays about a 3, 4 out of 10 or less, then we can slowly progress that week by week. And there's 3 variables we would adjust: how long you play, how often you play, and how intensely you play.
Okay.
And we would slowly increase them based on that order. So first I would want you to go from 30 minutes to 60 minutes to an hour and a half, basically to back where you used to be with your training and how long those sessions used to be. Then we work on 1 time a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week. I think you mentioned 3, 4 times a week was the usual. So we build back to that. And then the last part is the intensity. So we start at low intensity, then moderate, and then we push it even higher. You mentioned you have a league coming up or tournaments.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot higher intensity
Yeah.
than just training sessions. So we need to get ready for that there.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with elbow pain and you want to get back to playing pain-free, check the description down below on how we can help you overcome it.